You know, the recording still sitting over on. Okay, prepped. Quick cue. Okay. We got 9:59 on the clock. I'm gonna do marker, time, and then you'll hear the music. You ready?
Yep.
Marker, time, music.
This is R. Morton Mon.
And I am Charles Mc. All about bigger, more,
Big, more. Brothers be awesome.
and you've landed on the 6.
Welcome everyone to the #1 self-sacrificing comedic motivational show, otherwise known as Success Freaks. And today's working title is episode milestone 175. When in doubt, give first. And today we are coming at you semi-live from Gastonia, North Carolina, and the Bears Den in Conyers, Georgia. And in that Conyers, Georgia, is the dark side of positive, Charles McFall. I don't know what voice I was doing right there.
Let's say today, I feel like kicking it off with the bangs.
Boom! That's
Hey,
awesome.
Hugh.
Yeah, sorry, Hugh. Hugh
Hugh goes and polishes and helps with the sound levels and does some tech stuff for us. Yeah, he doesn't like those parts.
He's our sound podcast Keebler elf that makes good podcasts for us.
So just real quick, I want to tell people to go over to House of the Bear on Facebook, facebook.com/House of the Bear, where I just put up right before we started the show a picture of how the studio's progressing and how everything's up. And video, it's pretty good. I mean, I still need to just paint on the wall, but it's sounding a lot better. You know, it's not echoing anymore. Angle, and you see the horribleness that is on my wall. Well, it is not pretty at all, but it works. So you should go check that out. It'd be fun.
Nice. And if you want to go to Instagram and go to Mordant World, you'll see that I put up a picture of socks yesterday because I bought a lot of socks. Oh! Today is Veterans Day. We're going to talk about that too, but I got to say, in honor of Veterans Day, those of you who are looking at YouTube,
He's trying to go away. He's trying to walk away from the mic. He's got his American flag socks on today.
so that's just one of too many socks that I bought yesterday.
So Success Freaks want to say thank you for your service by stepping all over the flag you fought to defend.
No. It supports me in my path and wherever I walk. These colors never run unless you use bleach in the laundry, and then everything goes.
There you go.
So today we're talking about relationships. Why? Because we're relationship minded. Maybe. Why? Because we're relationship gurus. Maybe. Or why? Because we're going through stuff and constantly learning stuff or needing to learn stuff about relationships. Ding, 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 ding. I just hit the mic. that we have a winner. Charles came up with this for today, and I was like, this is exactly something that I'm going through right now, that I'm trying to learn right now. So yes, when in doubt, give first. And when it comes to this being Veterans Day, I wanted to say that on some level this was the ultimate giving, and these people. I think Veterans Day came about because the end of World War I, when on November 11th, 11/11. In 1918, I believe they signed. Is it Armistice Day, or they signed the treaty in France?
Yeah.
It was the war to end all wars because it was so terrible. Unfortunately, what happened right after that is they set up everything so that Germany was in poverty for 30 years or 20 years, and then it just brought it all back. Because it's really all just one big war. Anyways, that's enough history for that. I was watching. I'm just going to ramble until you stop me. I was watching.
If George Lucas had fought that war, and it had been one really good war, and then a couple bad ones that somehow preceded that.
Yeah, but we would all have little figurines of the tanks and of the, of Patton and all these other people. One of the things that I'm learning in a relationship, I'm learning to focus on giving more than what I may or may not be receiving. You know, that's something. It's like, well, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that. Well, it's like, well, you should be learning to give more. You know, instead of expecting to be loved, love. Instead of expecting to receive kindness, be kind, and then you're going to start getting everything up like that. I was watching Walking Dead, and this is not a spoiler. It's just kind of a quote that I'm going to really paraphrase because of the language. Where they're talking to one of the characters. They're like, look, if you're screwed either way, you should help someone out. If you're going to be screwed either way, if it's going to turn out badly for you either way, then opt to help somebody out. When in doubt, give first. You know, be the first one to give. Be the first one to do something. And that's going to get the ball rolling between you and anybody, not just an intimate relationship, but also any of your friends, anything like that. I like to look at it as a sense of noblesse oblige. You know, if you're already a star, share the limelight. And noblesse oblige is the referred responsibility of privileged people to act with generosity and nobility towards the less privileged. Meaning that if you already got it all, if you're already the star in your group or wherever else it may be, and somebody else is sharing a story, don't usurp that story. Don't grab that. Let them shine. Step back a little bit. Go, you know, let them have that attention. That's just an example. And now I'm running out of my examples, and it's time for Charles to speak.
Well, yeah, to take it down to your everyday life there, I definitely found this. Now, we read this article. I was in an office yesterday waiting on some stuff, and I was flipping through my iPhone and on Facebook, and this article popped up. It was, I don't remember the exact title, something about the 2 secrets to a great relationship, and it was talked about this study done over 40 years from the Institute of Marriage. And you see, I really remember all the details. I'm sure we're going to get into the things they talked about. But I was sitting there almost 14 to 15 years into, well, we've been together a while, but it's about 14 years into my marriage, and going, okay, you know, you're not telling me stuff I don't know. So, yeah, I paid attention to my marriage. I figured all this out on my own, but yes, that works, this works. You're talking about giving, you know, in an everyday thing. I try not to wait for my wife to ask me to do something anymore. If I know she wants something done or would want something done, I try to get things done, like taking out the trash or cleaning up the living room, or instead of just taking off my shoes anywhere in the house, putting them where the shoes go. And part of that's because I have kids, and I realize they're just going to follow my example. So if I'm tired of stepping on their stuff, I need to pick my stuff up. But yeah, giving, you know, the 2 tips. Can I tell them, or you got a spoiler coming up later?
No, I go for it.
Okay, so the 2 tips that
I'm going to share the limelight.
The 2 tips that the Institute came up with that were in this article was kindness and generosity. Kindness and generosity. And what that has translated in my life to be with my relationships, and that's all of my relationships, but with my relationships, is, you know, to give them the leeway I would want, you know, to understand that they're humans. I'd want them to understand I'm a human being. I make mistakes, and I have human moments. And the generosity is kind of what he's talking about with the sharing of the limelight, is just to give, you know, just to allow people to have some cool moments and do things for others. Not just, you know, buying things for people, but listening. I mean, listening is a huge, generous effort sometimes, you know, to hear what somebody else is saying when you've got a million things going on. So, limelight, back to you, sir.
Excellent. I had a thought, and then it went away, and then it came back, and then it went away again. So, this is it. You are not. When we get back to talking about doing things with our most intimate, whether you're married or you have an intended or you're a fiance or or whatever it is, it's easy to do this stuff that we're talking about, to give first to our friends and people not as close to us. That is so easy because then, it just makes us look good. Our friends bounce off us all the time. They don't see us at our work. They don't see us at worst. They don't see us at our grumpiest. They just see us as that face that facet. And it's not a mask. It really is who you are on some level. Now, the thing is, are you sharing that at home? Are you sharing this great person, guy or girl, with your loved one at home? Or do they, I just want to relax and be me? Well, that's one facet of you. If you're kind of a schmuck at home, then bring that other person as well, because it's not fair. It's not fair to show that great, gregarious, outgoing person to everybody else, and then at home just kind of be the nudge. You know, it's something that I'm learning as well. It's something that, you know, look, hey, and it works both ways for me because Christy helps me come out of my shell and be more social out and about as well. I'm gonna work for hours and hours.
You know,
What?
I help you be more social on SuccessFreaks.com, where they can find our show, blogs, and podcasts. Because it's that time. So we'll be right back.
Sorry, I've got my phone in a different place. I couldn't see the time, and I'm just, you know.
I know it worked. And I love that you should have made a noise because they can't see, on the video they can see you nodding and giggling, but then the radio they can't. That's fine. It worked.
Good.
Backwards. So there.
Let me think. What do you want to talk about in our discussion? Do you want to talk? It is Veterans Day. I would like to. We can save for. We can save that for On Beyond. I would like to mention our veterans, or just giving a tip of the hat. Or do you consider that we've already done that, or?
Well, gotta consider we've already done that. If you want to be more specific, how about we do it at the end?
All right, that sounds good. So
right before the wrap up.
What do you want to discuss on this one?
Well, I'll start asking you some questions. You're talking about giving. Let's get more specific into the thing. You say you're learning this. Let's talk about stuff you've learned.
Yep, got it.
All right.
Let me check to make sure that the Reaper is still working. I believe it is, and indeed.
It may help you. I don't know. I'm just saying it may help you in the future to put your notes in front of you and you're recording on the other monitor, so that when you read, you're more there.
Well, see, here's the thing. I've got I've got you right here, so I'm talking to you because I'm only going to like blah 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 blah.
Gotcha.
And then I'm back, and my recording is minimized so I don't mess it up.
I wonder if this is where we can get some Google Glass and our notes would be right here in our eyeball.
That would be a tax write-off. Hey, let me just say, whether it's because of you or because of me, you're really crisp today. There was a moment where you were back to normally fuzzy, but you're just really crisp and clear today.
I don't know. Right. I honestly don't know. I was taking some pictures, messing with lighting in here last night, and some things came up fuzzy. So, I don't know. I think I need to clean my camera. And I actually do want to do a little bit of lighting because there's shadow. It's like light right here and shadows over here, but I'll figure it out.
Well, you also need, according to some lighting stuff, you need a light kind of behind you hitting the back of your head as well.
Yeah, that's Ray Ortega also put out an article about that. With he cheated. He showed his setup where he has a nice big window in front of him. Yep. And then he had two different lights at 45-degree angles, and they were really cool. And they're about $200 each. I may get one, I may not, I don't know, but they were, angled right. He could demo them, but he cheated with the backlight. Instead of having one kind of over your shoulders, he sat in front of his kitchen, and his kitchen cabinets have this little glow light underneath them that shoots down on the counter, and it worked because it separated him from the background. And until he pointed it out, I didn't realize he was even doing that.
Yeah, nice.
That's a really cool trick. I mean, obviously it won't work here, but I thought it was a cool trick. What might work is I've got some rope lights. You can't see the trim, I guess is what that's called. There's some trim up there I could nail the rope lights to, and then it would kind of glow down behind.
Right.
So we'll see. Anyway, enough of that talk.
It almost looks like a huge blackboard that you're in front of. You can write notes every week.
Yeah. Amanda said I should paint it the blackboard paint, and then we could write stuff on it. I don't know. We'll see. All right. So we are Mark here.
Right, hang on,
and hey, viewer on the Google Live, we are about to go into our next segment of the radio show. So stick with us here. All right. I've got 8:59 on the clock.
Not there yet. Don't do anything. Why is my...
I said stick around, they left. Yay.
Okay. My phone is being... I've been doing some cool new things with it, but it's being an ass right now. Okay. I should go. All right, I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Marker time.
Welcome back to Success Freaks. Today we are talking about when in doubt, give first. Be the first person in your little group to be giving, to be kind, to be generous, to be loving, to be whatever it is that you're hoping to receive. When in doubt, be the first person to extend that hand, that olive branch. And Charles had a little bit of thing that he wanted us to jump in on, or at least throw back at me. Charles?
So you're talking about how you're learning this, and I wanted to. Here's what's interesting: the actual article leads with kindness and generosity, or what you bring up a good marriage, and it talked about physiology, which I thought you'd be interested in. It talked about how it showed that couples who didn't show a big physiological response to the questions, they were monitored. For those who don't understand what I'm talking about, or you think you do, but you want me to clear it up. What they did with the studies, they monitored the heart rate, they monitored the blood pressure, vital signs. I can't remember if they did like brain waves or anything like that. My production assistant in the corner says no. So they monitored your physiological response. They asked questions. So even though on the outside, if you're calm, cool, and collected, your body gave you away, according to the electronics. Those who were actually calm on the inside, as they dug deeper, found that they had a trusting connection with their other person. They felt comfortable. They could talk about anything they wanted. And I realize that's now in my marriage. It wasn't for a long time. And again, I think as successfully we need to get into what your role in this is as the person who's listening. But to you, Morten, I wanted to throw that you kept getting giving out of it. I got to be giving. I got to give. Why is it what is so important about giving that is jumping out at you?
Well, there's in a relationship, the thing that we're talking about today is giving versus receiving. You're always like, well, I'm not getting this. I want this in my relationship. I don't want that in my relationship. Well, listen, if you want to be the person, what is it Gandhi said? Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in your relationship. So give. When in doubt, should I be doing this, or should I be getting this, or am I? When in doubt, give first. Be the first one to extend yourself. My girlfriend Christy is beginning a creative project that I'm very excited about. So much so that my giving is holding my hand back, waiting to be asked for some help on this. And I've asked her a couple of times, do you want my help on this? She goes, yeah, but it's my project. I don't want you to take it over. And
you never do that.
That's a legitimate. Well, you know what I'm used to when I'm dealing with creative people. I'm used to that brainstorming back and forth. Getting each other excited about it, whether it's my project or not. I'm an idea guy, and I'm like, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And that whether they choose to take those ideas or not, it doesn't matter. But it may spark something of their own, or they may choose to take some, and that's part of my excitement. So this is a very difficult thing for me to hold my hand back and go, okay, and not be offended by that. So that's something that I'm learning to be more giving. I'm not just learning.
I think that flows into generosity. Generosity is not just about giving. I think people get confused on that. Generosity is being abundant. It's hard to describe it without using the word giving in the traditional sense. But like I mentioned earlier, listening. Actually understanding what somebody needs, actually doing what you're talking about. I had to do that with my wife as well. I've done that. I've learned to do that with friends, with coworkers. Of going, okay, I know how to keep you from smacking into that wall. If you just let me, and I think part of this is a guy thing. Just let me fix it. Just let me hold on. Let me do that for you, and you won't hit the wall, and you can watch and learn. But I've learned as generosity gives, you also have to give the opportunity for them to learn the way they learn, or to do things the way they do things. And it's hard to do that with kids.
Right.
I let that hang because,
more to that?
I'd say girlfriend joke there. But in all honesty, though, with my children, I find, like, my daughter keeps wanting to do this knitting thing with me. We have this knitting machine we bought for her so she can play with it, and she needs a little help. But I find me trying to guide her in the patterns instead of just letting her do whatever she wants. And the generosity there, the kindness is to go, okay, you can do what you want, and it's okay. And the generosity is, like you said, the holding the hand back and allowing them to do what they need to do or want to do.
Right. Now, this doesn't mean necessarily if they're going to hurt themselves or ruin their business or whatever that you shouldn't say something. But just go, I'm going to let it go, and if they choose not to follow that, that's their thing, that's their path, that's their lesson. Can you do that? even if it's, well, I'm denying a part of me because this is part of my joy. And in my head, this is a way for Christy and I to connect even more. But she's gotta want that. For her, this is something else. This is a creative thing. And for me to be able to connect more with her on her level is for me to let her take that lead. She goes, I do want to learn these things. I do want you to tell me these things, but I need to learn them. I don't want you to just don't do my homework for me. Come on, kids, I'll make you have the best Planet Mobile in class, and it'll be great. But Dad, I'm not learning how to do this. It's part of me, my fun, and I want you to be proud of me. To bounce back and forth between that child and creepy girlfriend analogy that we're stumbling into right here.
I'm just saying, relationships work.
This is just one example. This is one thing that I wanted to talk about as far as giving first. Really, what I'm learning about is if you want something in your relationship, if you feel that something's lacking in the relationship, be that person to give. Be the change you want to see. Be the gift you want to see. Be the love you want to see, that you want to feel. Be that. And if the other person shies away from that and it doesn't work out, then so be it. But don't just hold yourself back. Well, I'm not getting it, so I'm not going to give it. You're not learning anything in this. And this is all about you and what's going on in your life. That we're talking to you, listener. What's going on in your life and your experience?
That is very true. The moment you go, God, and we speak from a man's perspective, okay? And we speak from our own personal perspective of, I have a wife, he has a girlfriend. If you fit a different mold, if you're a woman, if you're gay, whatever, just plug it in the way it works for you in your world. We're not trying to be specific to man, woman, or us, whatever. But I found that when I go, man, I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, but I just wish, my wife would do something differently. The moment I really get out of my own head and grumpiness and get into what is it I want her to do, I realize I'm not doing it. Do I want her to get up and work more? Well, what am I doing? I'm coming down and sitting on the couch all the time. If I want her to yell at the kids less, what am I doing all the time? I'm yelling at the kids. We notice the things that we're actually doing and don't think about that we're doing. So if you want your friend, your relationship, whatever it is in your relationship to change, see what it is that you're doing or not doing that you would like to see different.
Right. That gets back to what we've said before. If something pisses you off about somebody else, chances are it's a mirror that you don't like about yourself. There's something that you see of yourself in somebody else. God, that's irritating. Well, chances are you're doing it, and that's a good way to take what pisses me off about this person or that person. Okay, that's something I need to work on in myself. And that's a hard pill to swallow especially when it's something like, well, I don't do that. Maybe not exactly, but on some level you do. And if it's affecting you emotionally so strongly, then there's an issue there anyways that you need to look at. If you're getting pissed off, there's something going on with you. Again, this is all about you, so make sure that you take a look at yourself and use that as kind of a guideline or a radar to see what's going on.
So we want to give a big shout out to somebody who does take a hard look at ourselves or look at us. And I don't know how to say it. I just botched that one. But anyway, AM 1450 WGNC in Gastonia, North Carolina. We love that they have us on the air there. So I want to give a shout out to them. Of course, check us out on Facebook.com/Success Freaks. And come back for more to intro the next one. Let's see what he does. Oh, where am I?
Noise. What are we doing? It's a question. All right.
Yeah.
Delete.
That was gross.
Thanks.
Made a mouth sound that was like, no, stop it.
Stop doing that mouth sound.
Okay, so let me flip over to that. Thank you. Okay. 9:59 on the clock.
Yeah.
All right. I'll do marker time, and then you'll do the thing. Marker time.
Welcome back to Success Freaks on this Veterans Day in 2014. We are having a great time discussing when in doubt, give first, whether it's your relationship or whatnot. And we are now at that section of our show where we have a questione. Mr. McFall, did you find a questione?
Well, it starts off very generic, but there's some details here, and I think it'll, as long as we pull from what we've done and what we've learned, then we'll do just fine. How do I better my relationship? I've been dating my boyfriend for 3 years. We used to be really happy, and just recently did it start getting worse. We can't communicate that well, and he is overprotective. I love him to death and can't seem to let him go. How can I better my relationship to make us happy? I just want to be happy.
Right. It sounds like something's gone on in a relationship. If somebody tends to be overprotective, now does that mean, he doesn't like her talking? What does that mean, for one thing? Does he not like her talking to other guys? Is he more concerned about, well, I'm worried about your driving, so I want to make sure you put on your safety belt? Is that what he's talking about? Or she's talking about by being overprotective? I don't think so. I think she's talking about he's being a little bit more, well, you can't do this, or you can't talk to this person. So let's go with that. If that's the case, there's a insecurity problem that he's having.
Right.
Somewhere inside of him, he's having doubt in the relationship. Now, has it been caused by a change in her behavior? Possibly. Is she being more flirtatious because she's so, comfortable in the relationship? So she's taking it for granted a little bit. Doesn't sound like that. It sounds like there's some kind of shift. Is it just that he's having a security problem or insecurity problem because of something else is not going well in his life, so he doesn't feel as secure about himself as a person, so therefore he's taking it out here? Is he having less control elsewhere in his life, so he's trying to put in a control here in this section? There's too many questions there to answer, but I think it's an insecurity problem for him.
I think you
just
need to get a good girlfriend and dump her, flat. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, here's the key. I mean, the key was in the question, and she didn't say recently we started not being able to communicate. She says we cannot communicate that well. You have to start asking questions. That doesn't mean he'll be able to give answers, but you can't make a two happy. You can't make anybody but yourself happy. And when you're in a relationship and you care for somebody else, sometimes you can't even make yourself happy because you're worried about them. You just got to ask the question, and then lead with honesty, and I guess vulnerability would be the right word here in this situation. I stop myself there. If you start worrying about don'ts, you're going to mess this up. But if you go in knowing that, we've talked about this I can't remember the episode, but I talked about it with my wife I had to learn to let her say whatever she had to say and truly try to hear it instead of taking everything personally. Because just because she's mad about something, or just because she has an issue with something going on, or she's concerned with something in our relationship, doesn't mean she's blaming me. Actually, typically she's blaming herself, because that's what we all do as human beings. If we blame somebody else, it's because we just don't want to look at ourselves. And sometimes it is somebody else, Mort doesn't like to share the limelight. That's just, we're just putting it out there. Just be vulnerable today. That's not
it just shines more brightly on me. That's all, dude. I'll step aside so you can step in. But.
So, if there's anything you can do, is, again, we're going back to what we're saying. Be the change. Be what's going on. If we can't communicate, if he's being overprotective, what are you doing? Because, like Mort said earlier, it's usually a mirror. It's what's going on in your life. When my wife and I were at that point, we'd been together for 3 years, and we could not communicate well. And there was just things I didn't feel like I could say. I ended up going to counseling on my own. We started at marriage counseling. She decided she didn't need it, and she was right. I mean, she's been fine. We've worked together through our issues since then, but I had much deeper issues, and none of them were about her. But they all defined my relationships. So that's something you can do, is start talking through your own problems with somebody who's independent, not your friends and not another dude, but some kind of therapist or something like that. And then talk to the person that you're having an issue with and seeing if there's anything going on. And don't offer help, because especially to a guy, that means the problem is theirs. And it might be, but when they're in the middle of the problem, we can't not hear that. We hear, oh, you got to help me. I'm already failing in all these areas in my life that I can't tell you about, and now you got to help me. It just makes it worse. I don't know what else to tell you. There's no perfect answer here, but just try.
So, say that, hey, look, I'm noticing that there's something different here, and I'm here for you if you want to talk to me. But be vulnerable to that. Usually, and I am making a generality here, women don't have a problem with going in and going, hey, we need to talk about this. There's an issue here. Usually, they don't have that problem. That's part of the female nature. Men don't like to rock the boat now because then there's going to be an issue, and I want to have a good night. So that, and that's a generality. Not everybody. There's ebbs and flows on both sides as far as masculine and feminine. But she should be able to say, hey, look, this is something going on, and I'm having a hard time with it. So can we talk about that? And make sure you don't put words into each other's mouth. Just like Charles was saying, it's like, well, I heard you say this. Is that what you meant? The other person might go, no, I meant this, because even day-to-day stuff. Christy and I will react to each other, and it'll be, no, that's not what I meant. This is what I meant. That's not what you said. Oh, well, obviously I'm not good at communicating all the time, as you've heard on the show, but then you clarify, and as long as you both do that with each other, it's going to help you get there. Well, this is what I meant by this. What did you mean by that? This is what I heard from you. So
there. So yeah, dump him and get a new boyfriend. That's our piece of advice there.
And hopefully you're going to find a success freak to do that with. One of our listeners, because they're all quality people.
Let me throw this out to you since we have hit the question pretty hard. The only answer we can give is that. But for you, Mordant, on the show, always what you're in your relationship. I won't even narrow it to your relationships. Even with me, do you ever sit back and go, yeah, no, I don't have a problem. It really is your problem right now. And then what do?
I do, but I know enough to know that it takes two in a relationship. If I don't have a problem with something, then it's not affecting me. Then I'm not even irritated by it. It's like, oh, that's just something they do. Then I don't have a problem. If I'm not emotionally tied to it. If I'm emotionally tied to it, I got a problem with it. I'm part of that problem. We learned from Joe Vitale's Zero Limits with Ho'oponopono. If one of the things that happens, if there's ever a problem that you run across, even if it's somebody else's problem, you're always there. So it's affecting you. So on some level, you're always connected to it. If it's somebody who's always negative and griping about their life, sure, that's their problem. But if it's coming into if it's in your face all the time, then you're part of the problem there because you're allowing it, whatever it is. If you don't have an issue with something, then maybe then it's not a problem. So yes, I'll say that, but usually when I calm down and back up enough to look at it, I realize that sometimes it's just my attitude about it that's a problem. I'm letting it bother me. That's the problem. The person doing that, they've done, I have other friends who do that. Doesn't bother me. Bothers me with this person, okay, then it's my problem as well. There's my answer.
I've had, as somebody who likes to take care of others, go back to my wife in this one because it just keeps popping back up. That's where most of the stories are. Well, I'll tell a different story that somebody else did for me. Is best friends Douglas, who's done work with us off and on, Success Free Weeks and for 20 years, and where he could see where I was heading. He could see the damage that was about to happen emotionally, and he always told he said he had apathy, and I said apathy as much as somewhat. It is somewhat, and that's just something else out of time here. But he would just sit back and go, okay, you're going to hit that wall? All right, you hit the wall. Now how many times are you going to do that? And he just let me do it over and over because that's how I learned. And I never got mad. I never went, why didn't you stop me? Flat out asked him, this is what I'm thinking. These are the potential risks. What do you think? And he's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. And he did the apathetic thing. And then I got into trouble. I'm like, why didn't you advise me? This is, anyway, way. So you can help others by letting them run into walls. So that's what we're saying sometimes. And generous and kind and understand that pain is part of the process. Just like hitting the wall on the time. We'll be right back.
Not just me today.
That was me. I got too much into that one. All right, level. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
10 minutes, 59 seconds. Look, I got Walking Dead on my desk.
Nice. Is it specifically a Walking Dead walker?
That's the bicycle girl from the first episode.
Oh.
Lala gave that to me. All right. So do you have a level up? You ready?
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. All right. Marker time.
Welcome back to Success Freaks. Today we're talking about when in doubt, give first. And it's what we've been saying all along. This is our level up section where we help you level up your life in whatever is going on, whatever we're talking about. But as we've been saying all along, you don't take your eyes off of what you're not getting. Take your eyes off of what may be missing or what you want in your relationship. And if it's something that you want to have happen, first of all, don't look at the negative. What am I not? I'm not getting this, and this is not happening. And that, and that's counterintuitive to the way a lot of us have grown up. I know it's a struggle for me at times, which is why we're talking about this today. But if you see something that you want in the relationship, give that. Give first. When in doubt, give first. Look, if you're going to be in this relationship either way, and it's not going the way you want to either way, when in doubt, help somebody out. Give first. Try that. Try that as an experiment. Well, this is never going to work because then it's just me doing this. It's not working already. It's failing already. So give first. Try it once or twice.
Oh, dude.
What?
You might even know the movie. I don't know what movie it comes from. I heard this clip played on the radio, but it's 2 or 3 people, and it's all voices, so I couldn't tell you what's going on exactly, but it goes, "This is a bad idea. Well, do you have any other better bad ideas than this bad idea?" "No, sir, this is the worst idea that we have." Because the whole situation that I read into that little blip was that there is no good idea sometimes. If you're saying what you're saying, if it's already failing, and that's what I always have to work on and keep in mind, and it comes more as second nature now. I've done it a lot. That if my wife, my kids, somebody at work, Morta even goes, "Hey, let's try this." Like sometimes we do teasers for the beginning of the show. I don't see the point of it. The way it came about, I didn't see the point of it. I've never done it before. It's just not my style. The way it came about was one of those, hey, you heard something, okay, fine, we'll try it a little bit. However, the feedback has come back that lots of people actually like it. And the great example from that is I could have just been like, no, that's just not how it works. And a lot of times, especially if I speak with authority, more than it's like, oh, well, you've done this for a long time. I'll defer to what you think in the industry. And that's not the best way to handle things. So what I've worked on, what I've learned to do is, even if I don't understand the idea, it won't hurt anything. Not like we're talking about you're driving in a car and all of a sudden the person in the passenger seat goes, "Close your eyes and let me." I'm not talking about that. That could be really, really
Jesus,
fun.
take the wheel.
But, yeah, when somebody says something you don't understand, especially in a relationship, when we speak to marriage, we speak to those kind of relationships because those are the most powerful relationships in our lives. It's a lot easier to be flexible with your friends because ultimately you're only invested so far. It's a lot easier to be ultimately, at least in my case, I don't care. I've moved through so many jobs in my life that while I'm here, I care about you as a human being, as a person, but I know I'm going to be gone at some point, and more than likely we won't stay friends because life just goes in different directions. So it's easy there. It's harder when you're with the person and you've committed to spend your life with them. And even at the worst times, I don't know what I'd do without my wife. But we stick together, so you have to work through these things. So when they come up with ideas, that was my level up, is it's an idea I don't get, I don't think it'll work. Okay, let's try it. You never know what's going to happen. And that's part of being generous and I don't know if it's part of being kind. We haven't really talked about kindness. How would we bring kindness into? That's the other part of the relationship.
Well, that's in your generosity is where that kindness is coming from. Of course, it's gonna if you're gonna give first, gonna be the first person to throw out if you're in a fight with your spouse or whomever, you're the first person to throw out the olive branch and go, hey, look, let's talk about this. That's being kind. If somebody else is having a creative project or something, and instead of just bulldozing your way in there, you take your hand off and go, okay, that's being kind. That noblesse oblige. If you want more love in your relationship and you're not feeling it, so it's hard for you, and you decide I'm going to give first, that's being kind. It's all in how you do it. That's where the kindness comes in. The kindness, the fact that the kindness allows the generosity. You know, I think that the generosity is an extension of your kindness. So it's there. It's like the seed of it. So you plant those seeds, and generosity will grow. How about that?
Maybe kindness is that thing that gives you the ability to take the punches and not punch back. I don't mean literally.
Yeah.
Happen in certain situations, but what I talked about earlier, you have to learn, and it is a process because we're not taught it. There might be some exceptions to the rule, but as a general rule in my experience in society, we want to have it our way. I mean, there's a whole slogan for a restaurant for that, right? All marketing is designed to what you can get. And going back to most parental experiences, it's we watch more than we're taught, and we're taught things are personal. We're taught you nag to get something done. We're taught you shut down and just, okay, I'll do whatever you want to make you happy. And kindness gives you that toughness to get through your own crap, and then to also realize somebody else is going through crap too. And while they may blame you, they may say things that are hurtful, or they may not give you what you need at a certain point in time, maybe kindness is that thing that says, I understand you're going through, I understand what we have. What we have is rock solid. I understand that this is a tough patch. And if you need to take it out on me, if that's how I can help you, then that's how I'll help you. Maybe it's that.
So what is the level up in all of this? Sometimes a little bit of self-sacrifice. We talk about veterans on Veterans Day and the sacrifice that they gave. Sometimes it's something that they did not want to do. Often it's you get enlisted in the Army and you're wherever, the Navy, it's you don't want to make that sacrifice. You're willing to for something you love, for somebody that means something to you, for your country. Same thing in your relationship. Often it's times that you don't want to do it. Even if it's, I don't want to give love first. I've given that already, and now it's just raw. Look at it as a form of meditation or a form of prayer. If it's not for the other person, it's for you. And remember that, because this is for your relationship that you're helping, your experience that you're helping. You're learning to be kind. You're learning to be generous in spite of what may be going on or not going on. It's easy when everybody's so nice and they think we're cool and, hey, I can be nice back. Can you still do that in the face of nothing? Can you do that in the face of adversity? Can you still be kind? I'm remembering right now a picture from the 60s, and I don't remember where it was taken. It was taken at Kent State or where the National Guard had been called out, and there's the hippies taking flowers and putting them in the tips of their guns, in the barrel of the guns that are pointing at them. In the face of such adversity, can you still be kind? Can you still be generous? Can you still give first? Give love first. When you can do that, then that says something about you. And this is what you're working on and what you're working towards. Bettering yourself as a human being in spite of what's going on around you in the world.
Speaking of things going on in the world, you wanted to give one more shout out to the veterans, and then we'll tell everybody where to find us.
Yeah, this is Veterans Day in 2014. I know many people who have served their country. Some with sacrifice, some of time and being away from family. While we are there was something that I can't call it up right now, but it was from on Instagram a girl had put out saying, you complain that he doesn't call you. Well, my boyfriend's in the service, in the Army, and I don't get to hear from him usually. You complain about he doesn't spend enough time talking to you. Well, I only get to talk to mine, every once in a while. Be grateful for the time that you have, and instead of beating him down, be nicer to them. But the thing was that these people are giving up, if not their lives, they're sacrificing their time, they're sacrificing their, the whatever life that plan they had, they're sacrificing their relationships so that you can live in a better world. So to all of our veterans out there, thank you for your service, thank you for your sacrifice, and we really, really deeply love and respect you.
Yeah. I don't know why that made me laugh. It made me laugh a little bit. For those of you listening on the radio, find all of our shows. Podcasts has all been recorded. You can download it to your phone. You can play them off the website through your phone or tablet. I do believe I know you can do it on your computer. And you can subscribe through iTunes. And all that can be found on successfreaks.com. You can find all our social media links there. You can find the articles that were written. A bunch of cool stuff's going on there. And pretty soon-ish, we're going to be revamping the site, making it bigger, better, more, as we want to do, as we like to do from time to time. Where else? What else do we have out there, sir?
Well, we also have a book. If you like what we're giving to you for free right here, for the small price of $4.99, you can have Success Freaks Guide to Dream Hunting. It is available on Kindle or through the Kindle app. You don't have to have a Kindle. You just have to have a tablet or even your computer or your smartphone. Sorry about those with steam-powered phones. You upgrade. So it's Charles and I, a few articles that we'd written back and forth about our philosophy in life. So check that out. There's that. Is there anything else? Every Thursday at 5 o'clock on WGNC, 1450 AM in the Gastonia, North Carolina area, North Kakalaki. You can hear us. You can hear this show before anybody else does, before any of the podcast people do. Anything. So check that out. So that's a lot of fun. And that's available through TuneIn and a few other things as well.
Yep. And, of course, we have our own Facebook pages. We have different things going on. So just check out the website and follow us, and you'll have lots of fun. Stay tuned. We're going to come right back with On Beyond Success Freaks. You keep doing that to me. Why?
What did I do there? That was...
you know what? Might be the timer takes things. All right. That's fine. 10 minutes. Okay. So, I thought we could talk about some veteran stuff. Is there anything you want to dive into here?
No, I got nothing. If there's anything about, just going on in your life, or is there any kind of whimsical thing, we could talk about a different thing if you'd like.
No.
Yeah,
no
whimsy.
All right. So
we can talk about my sock fetish.
No, we don't need to talk about any of your fetishes. Or the fact that the child/girlfriend analogy seem to intermingle.
I think the child of our relationship is me. I think that's obvious.
Yeah. All right, here we go. I want to hit marker, then I want to do time.
My
10 minutes.
Phone. Stop it. All right, ready.
Okay, sorry, something about that. All right. Marker, time. Welcome to On Beyond Success Freaks, where we go bigger, better, more. And I don't really want to. Sometimes it's the topics of the show. In this show, we're talking about the secrets to a better relationship and giving first and that kind of thing. But today is Veterans Day in the U.S. I'm not sure if other countries have different dates. I don't think it's a universal date around the world. But something I wanted to talk to you more on. We have a little bit of a global show here, and I say a little bit is we're in a few countries, and we've had a few people from other countries contact us, so we definitely love that, so keep doing that. We never did give our email address. Email is contact@successfreaks.com, and I think you can find that on the website as well. But I wanted to throw it to you. You are an immigrant by nature. You were adopted. You were born in another country, but you grew up here, and you're huge, man. God, we used to have such arguments about 4th of July because you just wanted to browbeat me into caring and voting and different things. But here's what I found interesting. On another show that I do, we absolutely have a global audience. Actually, I think it's at least 50-50 U.S./global, if not more global. And as we were coming up with a way to celebrate and say thank you to Veterans Day and do this cool promotional thing that we're going to be launching this afternoon, I had to think about I cannot, or I feel like I will alienate a big portion of my audience and a big portion of people who are part of my community and that I would consider friends if I just say thanks to the U.S. forces, thanks to the armed, So how do you feel about saying thank you to all the veterans of the world, including the possibility of enemy combatants?
Well, it is first of all, it is a holiday in other parts of the world. It's Armistice Day. It's Remembrance Day. Because after World War I, it was a big deal, and there's something that there's a respect of soldiers to soldiers, where if sometimes it's like it's not about us. We're doing our job, and our generals are telling us to do this. The politics are telling to do this. But I respect you as a mutual soldier. brothers in arms sometimes against each other. They had the same thing in the Civil War. There are certain monuments, United States monuments that tip the hat to both sides because they're both American citizens. So yeah, I'm a big fan of doing that because these people are sacrificing for their ideals, for what they believe in, or at least maybe it's not even that. Because in this country, people have varying degrees of belief in which way the country is, the flavor of the country is at that moment. So it may be a war that you're against, but if it is your belief that you need to stand where the country is, you may be in a war that you don't believe in. And that's something to remember too, is that, in the 80s, it was with the Cold War, everybody was like, oh, well, all the Russians are bad. And then there's that Sting song, I hope the Russians love their children too. And they do. Once you start crossing the line and meeting the people, and you take away the face of the ideology, then you realize they're just people like us. I'd mentioned this before. There was a movie, and I wish I could remember the movie, about a basketball player who would go and it's not performs, but he would work internationally. And eventually he went into Iran, and it was during, I think it was just before the war. The Iraqi war. So he was in Iran, and they videoed it, and it was a whole movie. And some of the people and the way they were, and he said you definitely have to stay away from politics. That's a dangerous thing to talk about. But as you see the people, the Iranian people, you see that they are just people like us, with hopes and dreams like us. And even though the women were talking about, no, we have to cover up when we're out in public because that's the law. And instead of thinking, oh no, we have to do this is the way it is, and this is our belief, it's like, no, that's the law. How many of us obey those laws because it's just that's the law? So there was a commonality there. So the same thing with soldiers, on both sides in all countries. Yeah, this is a day that we should remember everybody who's given that sacrifice.
It's interesting you mentioned the Cold War. It triggers something I saw earlier this week. I'm going to talk about the Cold War for a little bit. I grew up through that as a child and was taught a lot of fear, and we hated the Russians. Of course, if you go back to the 80s, all the bad guys are Russians, right? It's all communists, it's Russians. Now sometimes it's Koreans because that's one of the only bad guys out there. Whatever. It's Kim, not Kim Jong-il. He's the one that died. It's whatever. I'm not picking on a race.
Don't you
I'm talking about this.
Can't she Google it for you?
No, it's fine. It's fine. But what I'm saying is the Cold War was the world could be annihilated at any time. Russia was mad at us, and Mikhail Gorbachev was the head of it then, and Ronald Reagan was the president here. And the famous line from Reagan, which I think is just us being a little douchey about our own country, is he says, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. And it's like, oh, we think that's so great, but really Gorbachev's probably like, dude, I have nothing to do with the wall. I'm fighting my own internal politics, and it was a thing. But here's the interesting thing. Literally this week, there's still stuff going on in the world. That's the thing you have to really pay attention to in history is bad guys change, enemies change, standoffs change. Things happen, and there's always somebody to fight because for some reason as human beings we have to have somebody to fight or to hate. I don't understand it. But there's tons of stuff going on in the world. There's the Ebola stuff going on. I think the U.S. is at war with 3 or 4 different countries, and other things are going on. Americans just got released from North Korea as prisoners and blah, blah, blah. Mikhail Gorbachev stood up apparently at a big summit in what used to be the USSR. Now it's Berlin, Russia, and all the countries are separated. They're not exactly independent. But he stood up at this summit in Berlin and said the leaders of the world need to come together and talk because no one person can have the answers to all the problems in the world. And like that is such a huge jump from where we were, from at least what we were told. Because I've never met the man, never got to talk, although I think it might be interesting. Back in these and even part of the 90s, it's he was the evil dictator of Russia, and this guy is the one saying the world needs to come together and work together to solve all the problems because you can't just point a gun and one person can't just do it.
One of the reasons I love the TV show Game of Thrones is because there's nobody there that's evil. Everybody has a reason for doing what they're doing, and if you look at it, if you watch the show, you can see that everybody who's doing whatever they're doing, eventually you'll go, oh, this is why this person is like this. And you look at Russia, you look at any of the countries that we've ever fought, there's a reason for it. World War II did not happen in a vacuum. In fact, if things had gone better after World War I, instead of just really grinding Germany down for, to teach them a lesson, if things had gone more fairly, then World War II might not have happened. But what happened because of the Armistice Agreement and all the treaties and everything, Germany went down into a state of poverty more than ever before, which gave a great planting ground, a seeding ground for Hitler to rise up, for other things to rise up, and then the atrocities that happened there. If that had not happened, if they had treated them a little bit more, then World War II might not have happened. Assassinating Lincoln after the Civil War was the worst thing John Wilkes Booth could have done for the South. Lincoln was one of the sole friends of the South after the war. He wanted everything to be done more fairly. No, just bring them back into the fold. Let's not treat them badly. Let's just make sure that everybody can grow together as one country and treat them as one country. As soon as Lincoln was put down, then everything went bad for the South. So nothing happens in a vacuum. All these wars are not happening in a vacuum. So, but that's all politics. That's all ideology. What we want to remember is the people who fight these wars, the people who protect us, the people who stand at the border. There's that song by, and I can't remember his name, although I love his music. There's a song called American Soldier, and it's just it's Toby Keith's song. If you have a chance to listen to it, it really does discuss what an American soldier goes through, and any soldier in this world. So if you have an opportunity, I know that Veterans Day is past, and you know of anybody who has sacrificed something in the armed forces, thank them for their service, thank them for their sacrifices, because it is because of those people that we are able to come into you and use our freedom of speech to be able to speak our mind comedically, motivationally, and sometimes erratically. So thank those people. Success Freaks, thank you. I thank you. I'm sure Charles has his own opinion about that, but I'm going to let him speak for himself.
I think it's great if you serve with honor and you're doing what you believe in.
Absolutely.
So, now that you shared the limelight, I have to give it back to you so that you can take us home, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to this version of Success Freaks. We had a great time. This is R. Mordant Mon.
And I'm the Give Me a Sprite, 'cause I like my lemon limelight back, Bear.
That was awesome. Ciao, Success Freaks. Boom, baby.
All right. You want to do teaser?
Yep. Yeah, I do.
All right, let me check this out.
What kind of response have you been getting on the teasers?
People say that they like it because the notes don't come through on iTunes. It's just a title, and so like show notes right there. You don't know really what's in it, so they'll listen to the first few seconds to see if they've heard it or if that's something they want to listen to. And
nice.
So forth. Oh, let me step over here. Whole can of talk.
And let's face it, we're having a conversation here about.
Okay. Okay. You want me to stop the broadcast? Or you want to do this on the broadcast?
No, we can do the broadcast. If they want to watch it, it's their own fault.
All right, try that again. Now I can hear you. You can try that again.
Can you hear me? Oh. All I said was no. If they're still watching, it's their own fault.
All right. Trying to remember the section. Okay. Let's see. I'm recording. All right, go ahead.
Welcome to Success Freaks number 175. When in doubt, give first.
Well, we learn to say thank you not just to veterans, but to our spouses as well.
And we help you learn that. I don't know what else to say at this point.
Talk about giving.
Yeah. If there's something in your relationship where we discuss that if there's something in your relationship that you want, make sure that you are the change you want to see in that relationship. That was awful.
Go with the time. You said give first. Talk about giving first.
Don't wait for the other person in your relationship to give something to you. If you want love, give love. If you want joy, give joy. Make sure.
Go with be the change you want by giving first. Something along those lines.
Okay. All right. When it comes to your relationship, be the change you want to see by giving first.
And we answer the question, how do I better my relationship? And we answer the question with how do I better my relationship with giving some specific pointers from our own lives. And you say all this.
We give a tip of our hat.
Sorry, go ahead.
We give a tip of our hat to all the veterans in the world, all the soldiers who have served. We give a tip of our hat to all the veterans in the world on this Veterans Day in 2014.
All this coming up now.
Yeah, that's good. You got enough there?
Yeah. I do. I have plenty.
Good. Yeah, he's done.